Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And today's range report is on something different and cool, and I had no idea I would even get the opportunity to get my hands on one of these so soon. We will be taking a look at today the new FN 15P. Now I know some of you might be looking at this and having the same reaction when I first heard about it and saw it. Yes, it is an FN SCAR, and man, is this thing tiny. It's kind of ugly looking. I don't think I really want one. Who asked for one? Because trust me, when I saw it, I felt exactly the same way. But I saw all this hype online about people who really wanted one. And I don't understand it, because I once built a 7.5-inch AR-15 pistol, and man, was that thing loud and no fun to shoot. So I was going to assume this is going to be exactly the same way. But before I get into the things that I like and don't like about this and tell you how it shot at the range, as always, I want to thank the people that make these videos possible. The first person I want to thank is the owner of this awesome pistol who lent it to the channel. And by the way, right now it is mid-February and the ATF pistol brace rule is not in effect yet. So yes, right now as I'm filming this is a pistol. So please don't comment in the future. Understand when I was filming this, regardless of how that pistol brace rule bears out. And as I said, I want to thank the owner of this pistol. His name is D. D, thank you so much. You always lend so many awesome guns to the channel. I am honored and humbled. Thank you so much. As always, I want to thank my Patreon supporters, because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here. And now more than ever, as you guys know, my channel has gone through some rough times and my Patreon stuck with me. So thank you, every single one of you. It means a lot. And as always, my primary sponsor for all of these range reports, who provides the ammunition, and that is my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And yes, once again, I'm talking about the greatest grip company I know of, Brownworks. They're a custom grip company making a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. And right now, I want to personally thank Mark from Brownworks, because as I am filming this video, you guys might know what happened to my channel and how I'm having to restart everything. And I even told Mark, listen, you've really helped me out. I've lost a lot of my subscribers having to move over to a new channel. You don't have to sponsor me anymore, because I understand I don't have the reach that I used to. But you know what Mark did? He said, I still want to support you. And that means so much, because Mark is a true Second Amendment advocate. So I am begging you, I am asking you, please go over, check out Brownworks' website. I'm going to put a link in the description and as a pinned comment, as well as a 10% off coupon code. Go over there, see what he has to offer. I know that I'm rolling in some photos of his best work, and let me tell you, Mark can make almost anything. Anything you could imagine, he can do. Even grips for, yes, the FN SCAR, because he makes grips for AR-15s, and these take AR-15 grips, as well as laser engraving PMags. So if you don't have a gun that takes wood pedal grips, he can make something for you for modern sporting rifles and pistols. So please, if you want to support me here at the Texas Gun Vault, go support Mark. He is a true patriot, a lover of the Second Amendment, and I honestly could not do this without him. He is just a great guy. So please go over there, check out his website, see what he has to offer. If you don't find what you're looking for, make sure to contact Mark and tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so let's talk about what this thing is. Yeah, it's a 7.5-inch barreled SCAR. Yeah, one of the most expensive, and some people might think overrated, assault rifles in the world. And no, this is not an actual assault rifle, because this is just a semi-automatic pistol, so it's not full auto, but of course it's just the little pistol baby civilian version of the SCAR L, or in the civilian world we know it as the SCAR 16. Now, who in the world asked for this? I know that I did not. And this is not something that anywhere in my imagination I would ever want to have. But it is made by FN. It is made in Belgium. It's a 7.5-inch barreled short stroke piston Pistol, yeah, it is something different, and of course it is in my favorite color, flat dark earth. So that is what this is. It is new on the market here in 2023. It may have come out in 2022, but I'm reviewing this in 2023. And I know when these things first hit the market, they were hot commodities, and I am understating that there are a lot sitting on gun store shelves now. Is that because no one wants it? Is it because of the price? I don't know, but I'm excited to get this thing to the range and find out what I honestly think. And as always, I want to talk about the things that I like and don't like about these guns first before I get them to the range. And the first thing I really like about this gun is the fact that it is a SCAR. Yeah, the FN SCAR is such a great design. Now, I personally own a 16S, so the 16-inch light version on 5.56. I absolutely love that rifle. So it's a high quality, well-built firearm made in Belgium by FN, one of the world's foremost firearms manufacturers. I also really like the color. I like these SCARs in flat dark earth, and I like how every flat dark earth color on it is a little bit different, from the magazine to the grip to the upper receiver to the lower receiver. Yeah, you get many different shades of baby poop brown. A huge advantage to this gun is the parts compatibility with the larger SCARs and of course AR-15. So if you don't like the grips, you want to run different magazines, you can do that. Now, of course, not everything is compatible, but you have a lot of accessories that are going to be compatible with this. You got all this nice rail on top for optics if you're choosing, if you want to run iron sights. Yeah, you have a lot of options there. I do like the fact that this is a short stroke gas piston system, and you do have an adjustment in the front if you are going to run it suppressed. Now, I don't know if I would run this gun suppressed, even though this thing is probably going to be really, really loud, because a barrel this short is really going to wear out a suppressor. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of the gases and the particulates of the powder going in there really, really hot, and it could really damage a suppressor over time. But who knows, maybe you want to run a suppressor, or they have a suppressor designed specifically for that, but they do have those settings. So let's talk about a couple of the things that I don't like. And let's talk about the aesthetics. I think this thing is honestly pretty ugly. It's pretty boxy, in my opinion. In fact, when I first saw it, I didn't see one with a brace on it. And this actually makes it look a little bit nicer, but it is really, really boxy. Not a big fan of those aesthetics outside of the color. Now, I said when I talked about this on the Texas Gun Vault 2 that this thing has a reciprocating charging handle, because when I pull this charging handle back, even if I drop the magazine, I can't get that charging handle to go forward. So most of the time, if you have a non-reciprocating charging handle, you can push that back forward. You cannot. However, I did review the shooting footage. This is a non-reciprocating charging handle. So I don't know how that works. I don't like the setup of this. In fact, every time I charge this gun, often I hit my knuckle. In fact, you might even see that I'm bleeding right there because it rubs up against that rail just a little bit. So I don't like that at all. Something else I've noticed here on the workbench is this block in the back where you do attach any type of stock or brace. It is kind of wobbly, but it is in there the way that it's supposed to. It's just really wobbly. So even if you SBR this thing and put on a proper stock, I think that'd be kind of weird. I don't know. I kind of like the fit to be a little bit more sturdy than that. And also, when I do dry fire this thing, the trigger seems a little bit on the heavy side. So let me go ahead and safety check this gun, visually inspect that chamber. It looks like we are clear. And so when I do dry fire this, it's just a really heavy pull. Really heavy, pulling back kind of hard. There it is. And then when we have the reset, let me get my hand out of the way there. It's kind of long, kind of weird. You are back at that wall, but I can say that this trigger is not very good as it sits. Now, I'm sure there's aftermarket things that you could do to it or buy for it, but we're just reviewing the stock trigger today. So that's generally the things that I just don't like about it. So let's go ahead and get this thing to the range. As always, when I review a gun like this, I want to set up the target at 10 yards. So we're just going to make sure this thing functions. And I will say I'm going to be using 2 sets of ear protection on this. I got my headphones and a set of earplugs because I'm expecting this thing to be really loud. I don't know what the kick is like on this thing, so we're just gonna shoot it. We're gonna see what happens. Does it run? What does it feel like on my shoulder? Is it accurate? Let's just get some rounds down range and see what I think. All right, and I gotta be very honest, that was not what I was expecting. The gun was not as loud as I thought it would be. It definitely shoots some flames. I don't think the camera was picking that up. However, it's actually really soft shooting. It's loud, but not like a 7.5-inch barreled AR-15. The thing that really struck me was the feel of the gun, and I can't really describe it. It's more of a thud. It comes back and just has a different sound. I don't know, maybe it's the fact that the bolt is so large, it's the internal mechanisms, it just didn't have the same sound and the same feel as my personal SCAR. I'm not sure if they've changed anything about it, but you guys know when you shoot an AR-15, you can hear the buffer spring, you can hear the action of the gun because your head is right there. Well, this gun just doesn't have that. It's very difficult to put into words and explain, but that's one of the things that really surprised me about it. And of course, the recoil was exceptionally low. Now, I definitely do think you lose a lot when it comes to the ballistics on such a short barrel with a gun chambered in 5.56, but otherwise, I think that's probably the biggest downside. All right, so as always, I'm gonna double the distance of the target here, see what happens to this group, and yeah, the group was a little bit low. I think this aim point acro is just a little bit off. I'm not going to adjust for it, but I'm just wanting to see what the groups are like. So I'm gonna double the distance, go for the head on this IDPA target. I'm sure the group's gonna be low, but hopefully the group is gonna be good. So let's see how I do. And as expected, the gun performed just as it did before. It just has that weird sound and that weird recoil. It's not bad, it's just different. There's two things that I did notice though this time. Number one, the magazines fit in this lower receiver kind of tight. And yes, I am using the factory FN magazines. So they just don't drop out like you would expect on an AR-15. As you can see, I'm pushing that magazine button in and they're not dropping out. You have to manually strip those. Personally, I like those mags to drop out. This might be an issue later when I do the quick magazine change. The other thing I did notice is with the trigger, especially if I release the trigger very slowly, sometimes the reset gets a little bit caught up and it almost doesn't want to reset. So once again, let me make sure this gun is safety checked. We've got nothing in there. And let me show you this reset once again, and maybe I can catch this on camera. I'll go ahead and pull the trigger. Let's reset the trigger. I'm gonna release it really, really slow. As you can see, it kind of creeps and jumps. Well, it reset that time, but sometimes I feel as it gets close to that reset, it doesn't want to go all the way. It's working pretty good now, but I did notice that at the range, and I kind of felt like, uh-oh, it's not gonna reset if you release the trigger too slow. So that's just something that I noticed. The gun didn't have a problem otherwise than that, but it's just kind of a feel that you have. So this trigger is just in need of a little bit more refinement. All right, so now even though this is just a pistol, I'm gonna go out to the furthest distance I can at this range, which is 25 yards, and I'm going to bench rest this. However, I really can't truly bench rest it because this portion of the upper receiver is so short, and if I put it on my range bag, I'm probably going to destroy my range bag. So I'm gonna have to use the magazine as kind of a bipod or maybe a monopod. It's just the way I'm gonna have to do this. And I'm just curious at this further distance what this group is going to be like. So let's do that, see what happens, and then I'll tell you if I discover anything else. And for me, the accuracy is so-so. Of course, we're dealing with a 5.56 with such a short barrel. Now, that shouldn't really affect the accuracy, but a gun so short-chambered in a rifle caliber like this, to me, just doesn't make any sense. But that's just my personal opinion, but it does the job I guess it's designed to do. All right, so now I want to give my wife Becky a chance to shoot this. You know, when we went to the range and I showed her this, I think she was kind of nervous or scared to shoot it because she knows that when you get a gun this short in a rifle caliber, it's kind of loud and she doesn't like that. But she filmed me shooting it, so she's like, okay, I'll give it a try. So I don't think she's gonna like it, but I appreciate her willingness to shoot it. Who knows, it might change her mind, as honestly, this gun has kind of surprised me so far. So let's get her some trigger time on it and see what she thinks. And like it did for me, it shoots a little bit low for her, but once again, that's the optic and not the gun's fault. She actually said she liked it. Now, that was not what I was expecting. Her only complaint, though, was this grip. Now, this is an AR-15A2 style of grip, and the size of her fingers just makes this little finger groove right here uncomfortable for the size of her finger. She kind of has a finger that wants to go over that. So I'm actually a big fan of the A1 style grips where you don't have that finger groove. But of course, this type of design, you can change this out to any other type of grip that you could possibly possibly want that would go on an AR-15. It's a huge advantage of this lower receiver. So if this was my wife's, it would definitely get changed out. But besides that, she actually really liked it. So besides my wife being at the range, we actually have my next door neighbor with us as well. His name is Phil, and he's actually lent another gun to the Texas Gun Vault for review, a Smith & Wesson 686 Plus. But he was there at the range. We were doing some filming with that revolver, and I said, hey, you want to shoot this? He goes, yeah, I definitely would. It looks interesting. And I'm glad that I did because he's left-handed. So I was curious, a gun like this, is he going to have any issues being left-handed and shooting it from the other shoulder? I really doubt it, but I really wanted to see him shoot it and get his perspective. So let me load up another magazine and give him a chance to shoot it. And you know, he was really surprised by it as well. He says, that's actually a cool gun. I didn't think that I would like it. And his only complaint was, once again, the grip. He said he wanted to change this out for one of those rubberized Hogue grips. Ooh, I hate those. But I understand if it was his gun, it's what he likes. He likes that soft rubber, but whatever. So both my wife and Phil would change this grip out. But this is just a standard A2 grip. You're either gonna love it or you're going to hate it. All right, so now I'm gonna get back to testing this thing. I already mentioned the problem I'm having with getting this magazine out of this gun quick. As you can see, it's just in there a little bit tight. So I'm gonna do my usual quick magazine change, whether you wanna think about this as some type of competition reload. And remember, I am not a competition shooter. I don't do this professionally. So if an average gun guy like myself can do this fast, or slow, maybe in this case, well, maybe you can judge how you might do it because you train this way or on this type of firearm. So let me see how fast I can do this and get this gun back in action. And I can already tell this gun wants to be run fast, which kind of surprises me because the reset here is kind of sluggish and that trigger is kind of heavy, but I seem to be able to shoot it fast. But when it comes to the reload, yes, I had to strip that magazine out, and there's not really much of a mag well here. So getting that magazine back in and finding it for reinsertion was a little bit of a slow process for me. So I don't know if different magazines would work better or if they offer anything for that, but for me, using factory FN mags and the factory FN lower, they're kind of tight and it's kind of slow to do. All right, so as promised, let's get on to that mag dump. I know you guys want to see the gun being shot fast. You know, I'm not the world's greatest shooter, but sometimes with these guns, I'm pretty proud of how fast I can shoot them. So let me see what I can do with a full magazine. All right, and I can't argue with those results. This gun can run fast, which really surprised me because honestly, I thought this trigger was terrible, especially when I dry fired. Real sluggish reset. It seems to be real heavy, but hey, I can shoot this thing fast and the accuracy was really good. All the rounds were on target. The gun has almost no recoil. There is only one word I can use to describe my experience with the SCAR 15P, and that is surprise. I really didn't think I would enjoy shooting it as much as I did. Do I want one of these now? No, I don't think it's gonna go on my short list of guns that I want. I honestly think it's too short of a barrel for 5.56. I think it's too blocky of a look, and I honestly think it's a little bit too expensive for what it is. But I understand why people that love the FN Scar are gonna want to get this. And I will say, from somebody that was going into this review as going, I'm not gonna like this, it's gonna be loud, it's not gonna be enjoyable, let's just get it over with, I actually walked away from this going, that's actually a pretty darn good gun. It's a lot of fun to shoot. It's not as loud as I thought it would be. It has very low recoil, pretty good accuracy, and the trigger is better than what I was expecting after dry firing it. So overall, my experience has just been one of pleasant surprise. And this is why I always tell people that before you go out and buy an expensive gun, if you have the opportunity to go to a range that has one to try it out, you really should. There's been many times I've gone to the range and said, I'm gonna love this gun. I can't wait to buy one myself. And I shoot it, or I review it here on the channel, I go, it's not as good as I thought. And then there's sometimes it's a gun I'm like, I'm gonna hate this thing. And I shoot, it's like, wow, that's not too bad. Or, oh my gosh, I gotta have one. And I kind of had that experience with this. I still think it's weird. I still think that no one's really asking for it. But when it comes to its performance and how it shoots, it's a lot of fun. It works well. It's high quality. It really surprised me. It's not as loud as I thought. Low recoil. Yeah. Okay, well, it's a big surprise. So I would highly recommend that if you're interested in a gun like this, don't take my word for it. You definitely need to go out and shoot one for yourself before you drop this type of money on the 15P. However, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be a good investment because the gun shoots better than it looks like it will. And yeah, I guess I'm just surprised in general. So wow. So on my star system, how am I going to rate this one? I was going into this one thinking it's going to get 2.5, maybe 3 stars. Well, it's not a 5 out of 5 star review. I'm not ooey gooey about wanting one of these things, but overall, a very pleasant experience. So I can easily say I would give this 4 out of 5 stars. No, it is not the best gun I have ever reviewed. It's still pretty loud. I don't think aesthetically it's very pleasing, but 4 out of 5 stars. It shoots well enough for me. Magazine changes are gonna be a little bit slow. Trigger seems to be a little bit heavy, but darn, I can shoot it fast. And depending on what happens with the ATF pistol stabilizing stuff, well, if you just wanna keep it a pistol, pop on a brace, I think you have a great gun. And if you wanted to SBR this thing, I'm sure it would be even better. So there you go, my range report, FN Scar 15P, 4 out of 5 stars. What a surprise. So what do you guys think? Do you guys own an FN Scar of any of the variants, the 20, the 17, the 16, or the 15P? And if you don't own one of these, do you want one? And I think these right now are only in flat dark earth, but would you want one in black? I like the flat dark earth personally. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.